Mark, how do you sum that one up? It looked at half-time as if we were not quite out of it, but in the end we could have stolen it in stoppage time.
Well, I think if we'd won it, we wouldn't have stolen it. I think we'd have deserved it and we would have earned it. At half-time we were very, very aggrieved at being 1-0 down. I thought we dominated the majority of the game in the first half as well. Maybe not quite as comprehensively as we did in the last half hour. But I think that we lost a goal that shouldn't have stood. First of all, we can argue all day about the free kick. The referee saw that, and it was a soft free kick. He said that, but it was offside. And I think that that's disappointing as well. So to go in half time 1-0 down was a bit of a blow, and it asked a huge question of the boys. And the way I put it to them was, I wrote on the board, are you capable and do you have the desire to come back from 1-0 down in the circumstance away to Aberdeen and get something from this game? And I said, and you'll answer the question by the end of the game. And I wrote yes and I wrote no on the board. And at the end of the game I walked in and all I did was I put yes and I said, that's it, we'll see you Monday. That's all I had to say because they answered the question. I thought they were magnificent from the start. I thought, the 11 that started to the 3 that came on, I thought they were absolutely brilliant today and gave me great hope that we can build on this and go and get some points.
Yeah, you mentioned the 3 coming off the bench. They certainly made an impact when they come on, and I guess that's what you're looking for, is for everybody to contribute, not just the 11 that start.
Well, I think, what you don't want is you don't want to make substitutions and your performance drop. So we made substitutions today, and at that stage of the game, arguably our performance improved and increased. So that is brilliant. I had 14 players today that I can look at and say, right, they can all do a job. We can pair many 11 almost from those 14, and we know that we're going to be all right if they apply themselves the way they did today.
You must also have been pleased that even in the dying stages of the game, in stoppage time, as I mentioned, their goalkeepers forced to make 3 great saves, that the boys kept going right to the end and had the energy to go right to the end.
That was especially pleasing. I think that the last 20 minutes of the game, it looked as if anybody was going to win it, it was going to be us. And I thought that was terrific and says a lot for the desire of the boys. They've worked very, very hard this week, to just top up. It shows you that they're fit. All that stuff that, sometimes managers go into clubs and start, making noises about the fitness of the players. These players are fit. They've been left fit by the last manager, I have to say that. And all I've done this week is top that up a bit and just try and squeeze a bit more out of them. And they've done really, really well today.
You mentioned last week there'd be a lot of work done in the training ground to get them to understand the system that they want to play, and I guess you've got another week to do that ahead of the Kilmarnock game next week.
Yeah, well, we've played 2 systems now. Last week we started with a 4-3-3, and that's the way we tried to finish the game. Today we're slightly different. We've sort of a system that I would call, sort of 4-3.5, 2.5, with one guy wide and one guy tucked in on the other side. It's how I played. It's how we played when I was here at Aberdeen. So it's not new. We played with Gordon tucked in and Gordon Strachan tucked in and Peter Weir out in the wing. That's the way we played today with Marvin and with Piero, and it worked really well for it. But it worked for us because the strikers, Piero, the fullbacks, the midfield players did the job they were asked to do and made it very difficult for Aberdeen.
The one position you didn't mention there was goalkeeper, and Connor did make a save at a vital time with 10 minutes to go, so that must have been pleasing as well. He had a contribution to make.
Fantastic. That's why I can't stand here and say we should have won the game. We could have lost the game. We could have won it, we could have lost it. A draw, don't know if a draw is a fair result, I don't think it really is, but it's a result we'll take. Away from home, against Aberdeen, probably taking that before the game.
The one downside was an injury to Keith Lasley. Any news on what happened to the skipper?
Yeah, well, I got a fright actually because I thought he'd hurt his knee, but in fact it's a calf injury, which is obviously a fraction as difficult as a knee might be. So it'll now remain to be seen how bad a calf injury it is. But Laz, Laz is short for Lazarus, so he'll be back as soon as he can.
Yeah, so like I said, it's mentioned Kilmarnock next week. So having played the top 2, you'll be looking for the same kind of performance level next week against Kilmarnock.
Well, that is the question now. Each week we're asking them questions, and the question now is, can you produce that sort of performance against Kilmarnock away from home? If they can, they'll give us a real chance of winning the game.
Thank you very much, Mark.